Black Janitor yelled, "Don't get in the car." What the CEO did next shocked the whole company. "Ma'am, don't get in the car." The shout tore through the chilly afternoon, sharp and desperate like a rescue command. Ava Langford froze, her hand still on the chrome handle of the sleek black sedan. The glass facade of the Langford Tower reflected the figure of a woman with neatly tied hair, a flawless suit, and a schedule running 12 minutes late. Marcus Graves, head of security, and another guard moved in like synchronized shadows. They lunged at the man in gray janitor's clothes, dark skin glistening with sweat, breath ragged. His keys clattered against the pavement. "Please, don't let her in the car," he repeated, voice urgent and hoarse. "Step away from the vehicle, ma'am." Graves switched tone instantly, hand sliding inside his jacket out of reflex. "Lock it down, emergency protocol." In Ava's world, safety meant protocols, signatures, and risk charts. But from the mouth of a janitor on the sidewalk, it meant only one thing: danger. She pulled her hand back as if from a searing flame. "What is this, Graves?" "Night shift staff, ma'am." Liam Brooks. His eyes swept across the dark windows of the opposite rooftop. Possible threat. "Liam Brooks." The man echoed his own name like a lifeline. "The car isn't safe." Ava studied him. Not a madman, just a drowning man clinging to a last buoy. Orders flew. Sirens wailed. A bomb robot rolled toward the sedan. Yellow tape stretched across the street. Phones went up. Ava's driver was ordered out of the car, frozen behind the barricade. Liam's arms were wrenched back, cold cuffs snapping shut, a touch that made a black man suck in a deep breath and go utterly still, knowing how quickly worse could follow. 20 minutes, 30, nearly an hour, nothing. Underbody, dashboard, engine bay, backseat. Clear. Tape reeled back. Crowd dispersed. Only fading sirens remained, and the cold fury solidifying in Ava's chest. The irreplaceable airport meeting, the 2-year illicit finance report about to surface, all wrecked by a single shout. "False report, public panic," the officer said, yanking Liam up from the pavement. "Jail's where you're headed." He didn't fight. His eyes stayed fixed on the car deemed safe. He'd stopped her. That was enough, until a deeper dread punched his chest. Maya, his 7-year-old waiting by the window with the sketchbook on her lap, hand trembling from a disease doctors pronounced in cautious tones like stepping across ice, neurosynaptic decay syndrome. Ava emerged from the glass lobby, heels ticking like a countdown. Graves moved to block, but she raised a hand, small, decisive. She stopped before Liam, meeting his eyes. Not sabotage. A fear too precise to be invented. "You have 5 seconds, Ava said, voice low, sharp, quiet, but heavy enough that even the 2 cops behind Liam leaned in. "Give me a reason you just ruined my day. If I don't believe you, I'll ruin the rest of your life." Liam's heart pounded. If he told it all, shredded paper, sleepless nights, names pieced from strips, he'd sound insane. He needed the one code that would unlock her door. Neurosynaptic decay syndrome, barely above a whisper. But Ava flinched. A blink too slow, a line tightening at her mouth. Enough to shift the balance of power in 7 breaths. That rare illness was the secret she had buried behind firewalls, NDAs, and pain. A janitor had spoken it aloud in the street. "This is an internal security matter," Ava told the police. "Langford does not press charges. He's in my custody." A reluctant nod. The cuffs clicked open. "Take him to the 50th floor. No calls, no contacts." The glass boardroom above the city was a showcase box in the sky, black stone table mirroring Liam's exhausted face. Graves stood guard at the door, eyes carved from steel. 1 hour. 2. Restlessness clawed Liam's chest. Had Maya eaten her cookies? Did Mrs. Henderson knock like she promised? Did his daughter notice Dad hadn't called? Please, he turned, voice cracking. Just 2 minutes to call my little girl. Speakerphone. You listen. I'll say nothing wrong. No, Graves replied, flat as a steel door. The door opened. Ava entered, assistant trailing with a tablet, dropping files before slipping out. Ava didn't sit. She circled the table slowly, measuring the perimeter of a problem. NDS, she said evenly. Extremely rare, few records worldwide. You, mopping floors, how do you know of it? My daughter Maya, Liam answered, voice breaking at the second syllable. 7. Diagnosed 6 months ago. Her hands, they started to shake. Doctors say it's fast. They say there's no way. He swallowed hard. I found the shredded papers. Langford Initiative. Kellen Langford. I pieced them together. Numbers hidden under appendices. Not a cure, something worse. Ava straightened, face stone. Your source? Where? He glanced at his hands, bleach stains in the nail beds, then looked up. In this building, in the shred bin, 2 walls from the lab. Ava didn't answer. She gave Graves a curt nod. Keep him here. No entry, no calls, black box. The door shut, leaving Liam alone with the map of the city beneath his feet and the hammering heart that with every beat whispered his daughter's name. Somewhere, in the glass towers and elevators, the Langford machine began to rumble. And if something had just shifted, it was the course of the entire story. 5 floors above the glass box, Ava's fingers slid across a row of security icons like a pianist playing an old tune. Everything on Liam Brooks, she said into the intercom. Employment history, credit, social media, acquaintances, habits, and full medical files for Maya Brooks at St. Jude's. Use my name to request it. 1 hour. Brooks stays put, Graves' voice came back in her ear. No calls, no visitors, no door. The machine started humming. Fast, cold, precise. Within 45 minutes, a hail of encrypted files poured into the tablet. Ava skimmed past the immaculate financial graphs, opening the medical file first. Maya Brooks, 7 years old. Neurosynaptic decay syndrome. Stage 2. Clinical notes, subtle distal tremors, loss of fine motor skills, grim prognosis. The words cut like a blade straight into a wound she knew too well. Kellen. In that instant, Liam's story stopped being a tale. It became bedrock beneath her hand. Ava tapped a key. Graves, authorize 1 speaker call in the 50th floor room, 1 number only. 2 minutes, I'll monitor. Graves patched Liam through. 2 rings. Daddy? Maya's voice was bright and small, like morning sunlight through curtains. Baby, I'm sorry. Something big came up at work. I have to stay a while. Will you still tell me a story tonight? I'll try, he lied softly, palm pressed to cold glass. Did you eat your cookies? I drew a castle for you, with a big gate so the monsters can't get in. Keep that gate strong for me, okay? Yes, I love you, Daddy. I love you more. The line went dead, leaving in the air the ragged breathing of a black father who had just tried to build a small wall between his daughter and the storm tearing through his life. Ava shut off the intercom. That 2-minute exchange did what no file could. It turned Liam from a subject into a man. She opened the Langford Initiative next. Scrolling past Dr. Sheenworth, Alistair Finch's glossy progress reports, and investor-ready success projections, she dug into the quarterly expenditures. There, 1 small entry, Helios Analytics. Ava cracked the encrypted link, a shell company. Owner, Dr. Corbin Vance, once disbarred for falsifying data. Finch had never mentioned him. Ice began forming in her chest, not from fear, but from self-loathing. She had painted every inconsistency pink with one word: hope. Her secure line connected straight to Finch. Alistair, what is Helios? 3 seconds of silence. And in those 3 seconds, Ava heard it all: the scramble for a lie, the shock of being caught, the snap of a trap closing. Probably clerical error, Finch stammered. Vance is just an old friend. I occasionally consult him for history. History of falsifying numbers? Ava dropped the question like a cold weight onto the line. The other end babbled denials, bruised pride, excuses. She cut in. From now on, you don't touch the servers. You don't touch Kellen. One byte disappears, I'll bring the federal government down on you. Clear? Without waiting for an answer, she hung up. The elevator doors opened onto the 50th floor. Liam shot to his feet. Ava shoved the tablet across to him. Vance's photo, his revoked license, and a string of sterile invoices. You were right. He's paying a man who once forged data. I called. He panicked and lied. Instead of relief, the fear in Liam's eyes only deepened. He'll run now, he murmured. He'll accelerate everything. The meeting I nearly attended, Ava said, jaw tightening, was to witness the final results and authorize the last transfer. Once the money leaves, he and the data vanish. And my brother... The last words broke off. Liam remembered the shredded phrase, post-transfer asset liquidation. He'd thought it meant shares. Now he understood. It meant erasing evidence, killing people. They're going to kill Kellen, he whispered as if realizing the blade was already at the skin. How many hours do we have? Not many. Ava lifted her gaze. I could pull in federal marshals, but a warrant has to go through a judge. 12 hours at best. We don't have 12 hours. The front entrance will be flooded with cameras, sensors, guns, Liam said. He moved toward the schematic Ava had just opened. Not at the gates, between the blocks. Here. He tapped a tiny mark at the edge. An industrial chemical conduit. It's shielded. Leads to a ditch half a mile outside the fence. Between 2 and 4 a.m., filters shut down for cleaning. The lab drops into standby to save power. We go through the drain. He'll guard the CEO at the front. He won't guard a janitor underground. For a flash, Ava's eyes lit with respect. She saw the building not as a fortress, but a web of roots and weaknesses. Insane, Graves muttered, stepping in with a fuller schematic. Electric fences, motion sensors, response teams. Gear up, Ava ordered. Prep the jet. Full HVAC schematics, filter maintenance schedules, and Brooks comes along. She turned back to Liam. Her eyes were no longer tinted glass of power. Inside them something human had hardened. Resolve. One condition, Liam said, steady now. Maya. He didn't bargain with money. He demanded protection. Whatever happens to me, you keep my daughter safe. I promise, Ava answered instantly. No hesitation. Not as CEO, as a sister. I'll cover every cost to get your daughter anywhere with the right treatment. As the jet lifted above the city's grid of lights, the cabin glowed with the cold green of schematics. Graves checked equipment. Ava glanced at Liam. Tell me about Maya. I want to know the reason you risked all this. She loves the yellow of the sun just waking up, Liam said, voice raw. She wants to be an astronomer, name a star after her mother. He stopped, swallowing the thorn in his throat. Above the night clouds, a black father gripped the armrest, not from fear of falling, but because beneath him was a daughter holding the castle gate for him. Let's get to work, Ava said, eyes fixed on the tiny conduit line in the drawing, and opened the right gate. The jet sliced down onto the auxiliary strip at Black Ridge like a thin blade. The hatch opened to the damp night air, resin and cold dryness biting the skin. Graves shouldered the gear pack, checked every item. Night vision goggles, bolt cutters, a compact pulse disruptor, zip ties, field dressings, short frame pistols with suppressors shaped like pieces of solid shadow. Ava Langford was no longer in her rigid suit. She wore a muted field jacket, hair tied back, tablet in hand glowing with the HVAC schematics of North Valley. Liam Brooks zipped his collar high, the sweat-stiffened janitor's uniform clinging to his shoulders. He wasn't a soldier. He knew his limits. But pipes and conduits, those were systems he understood like the lines of his own palm. The forest was dark, soil soft, branches cracking under boots. They crouched low by the fence, following a drainage trench where the chemical waste conduit bled into weeds and vines. Graves tapped his watch, 02:15. Main filters shut down until 04 hack, Liam murmured, as if reciting proof that his math still held. Graves cut the rusted grate. A mix of chemicals, mud, and iron stench wafted out. From here, silence, Graves whispered. No lights, no extra noise. You stay between me and her. A 75-centimeter tube swallowed them into black. The world shrank to breath echoing in metal, cloth rasping, cold slime sliding against knees. The further in, the tighter. Shoulders scraping damp walls, chemical sweetness biting the air. Liam moved the way years of cleaning tanks had taught him. Head down, weight low, so each knee joint didn't click too loud. He counted rhythms like he had scrubbing reactors. 15 breaths for one segment, 10 segments before pausing, each pause rebuilding the hidden map above, main lab, chemical storage, freight shaft. Graves lifted a fist in the green haze of night vision. Stop. Ahead, vertical bars, and beyond them a high-ceilinged chamber, pipes stretched like veins across the building's throat. He peered through, his face hardened, jaw tensing. Movement, he hissed. 2. Not security uniforms. Liam leaned closer. 2 men in dark tack gear moved noiselessly across the concrete, compact SMGs snug to their frames, mercenaries, not guards. They pushed white biohazard crates, Class 7 stamped in bold, toward an open freight elevator under razor-thin industrial light. Words from shredded paper stabbed Liam's chest. Transport and disposal contract. Bio-waste, Class 7. Pickup, Yo-6 Airways, already pulled forward. Finch had hit the button the moment Ava called. Asset liquidation just changed state, Liam said, voice low. That's not evidence anymore, it's a living body. Ava's teeth ground. We can't cross that open floor, kill zone, we'd be shredded in 2 steps. Graves nodded. Only way is to turn their eyes. He pulled a palm-sized black box, flipped it open, dialed the charge. East Hall lights will blow like a fuse. They'll pivot. He slotted the device into the grate, sighted along the conduit lines. 3, 2, 1. A flash ripped down the far corridor, a dry bang, then glass raining in shards. The east lights went black. Alarms drummed. The mercs flinched, spun their guns, sprinted toward the noise. Go! Graves growled, shoving the bars. Metal screamed in his bones. The gap opened just enough. Liam crawled through, Ava behind, Graves last, snapping the grate back. The open floor yawned like a train station. Their steps boomed inside their chests. North, 20 meters, dumbwaiter, Liam gasped. The north wall loomed, a square hatch smeared with grease and dust, its handle worn smooth. Graves jammed a pry bar, wrenched, clack. The door gave. All three squeezed into the box-sized shaft. Level 3, Medical, Liam breathed, jabbing the corroded button. Chains groaned, gears chewed, the dumbwaiter shuddered upward. The building knew they were coming. It jolted to a stop. Graves slid the hatch a sliver. White medical light poured in, antiseptic smell shoving out the stench of drains. A gurney rolled past, draped in a sheet head to toe. Dr. Finch walked beside it, glancing at his watch, muttering to two orderlies. Ava's chest detonated. She lunged as if pulled by a wire. Graves' hand clamped her shoulder, iron hard. "Step out and you're dead, ma'am." They watched the freight doors at the end of the hall swallow the gurney, clanging shut. The three of them froze in the dumbwaiter's dark. "It's over," Ava breathed, suffocating. "We're too late." "No," Liam said, his mind sprinted. Why the main corridor? Why a white sheet instead of a sealed bag? Why staged so openly on camera? "He's forging the log," Liam said slowly. Each word like a stone laid. "He wants the system to record Kellen exiting by freight. But the real body hasn't moved." Ava clutched that sliver of hope like a cliff edge. She yanked up the schematics, zoomed level 3. "Ore 3, decommissioned," Liam pointed. A gray block left off the camera net, marked obsolete. "Private service shaft." Ava traced the faint line. A narrow chute dropping to an isolated loading bay. "A ghost door," she whispered. They slipped out, flattening to the dark auxiliary corridor. Lights spaced farther apart, shadows thicker. At the end, a double steel door with a mesh glass slit. A keypad blinked red. Graves pressed to the frame, sniffed metal and old paint. "Mag lock plus encryption. I need a cutter or time," he said. "We've got neither." Ava pressed her ear to steel. Inside, a steady beep, thin as needles on glass, a heart monitor. Kellen was in there. Liam's eyes raked the baseboard. To him, what's forgotten always spoke. Near the floor, half hidden under peeling paint, a palm-sized aluminum plate caked in dust. Emergency atmospheric purge control. The lettering was faded, but not to a man who read buildings like language. "I can't open the door," he whispered, eyes sparking with controlled recklessness. "But I can make them open it." Graves looked at Ava. In that half-second, power fell to the one with blood in the room beyond. Her eyes hardened, then broke into decision. She nodded. Liam pulled a multi-tool, dropped to his knees. The first screw jammed, threads rusted, old paint dust flaking. Each turn, the beeping inside ticked like a countdown. Second screw, third, played off. Mechanism revealed, a red lever thick as a fist, insulation-wrapped cables. Beneath, a faded warning. "Caution. Activation will result in total atmospheric expulsion." He looked up. Ava stood ready, palm braced to rip the frame from its hinges. Graves crouched low, gun angled, covering the blind corner. "Pull it, Brooks," Ava said. "Blow the right gate." Liam Brooks clamped both hands on the red lever. The metal stuck like a curse. He heaved harder, forearm muscles sparking fire. Clunk. The lever dropped into place. Deep underground, something woke. Turbines rumbling low, vents shuddering like the chest of a giant sucking in a breath. The steel door's lights flipped to red, blinking erratically, pulse hammering up their throats. Inside, the monitor shrieked, its steady beeps stretching into one long scream. The keypad beside the door shrilled. Fingers on the other side pounded codes, fast, frantic, wrong. Snap, the mag lock released. The door blew open, air rushing out with a violent gust, tearing down the corridor. Dr. Hayan Alistair Finch burst out first, clawing at his collar, face mottled, lips tinged purple, eyes scattering. Behind him staggered Dr. Corbin Vance, thinning silver hair plastered to his skull, body shaking like glass. "On your knees," Graves leveled the pistol, voice flat. Vance dropped instantly, hands clamped on his head. Finch hesitated half a beat, eyes blazing at Ava, mouth ready with excuses, until the black mouth of the barrel froze him. He lowered, grinding his teeth. Ava strode past them without a glance. She plunged into operating room 3. The cold, sterile air struck her face, laced with metal and antiseptic. Kellen Langford lay on the table, skin pale as parchment, tubes and wires clawing into him like a forest of roots. The monitor wailed, pressure dropping, life support stumbling. "Kellen." Ava's voice shattered like glass, her hand hovering over his frail one, terrified that touching might break him. Liam entered, eyes devouring the room as only a janitor of systems would, tracing from whole to part, scanning for what didn't belong. 3 IV bags labeled clean, water, electrolytes, a formula bag with proper codes, but a 4th, smaller, amber, hidden under the gurney's edge, tubing snaked around the rack to avoid sight. "That one, Ava," he said, voice so sharp he felt like he was holding a knife. "It doesn't belong." Without hesitation, Ava yanked the line. The pin popped free. A golden-brown drop hit the white linoleum, blooming like ink-bleeding gilt. Nothing calmed at once. The monitor shrieked another beat, then 2. Then the waveform collapsed into weaker but steady ripples. Beep, beep, beep. Ava gripped the table's edge, gasped out air. The first tear slid down her cheek. She turned to Liam, a black father standing amid wires and tubes, eyes blazing red from the race against a hidden noose under the gurney, as if seeing a stake driven deep in mud, keeping the house from collapse. Boots thundered the corridor, shouts, clipped commands, metal raking doors, a battering ram. The steel door shook, wired glass cracked into frosty veins. "They're here," Graves said, shoving Finch and Vance into a corner, zip-tying their wrists so tight the plastic burned skin. "This door holds 2 minutes, max." "Block it," Ava snapped. She and Liam threw their weight against an old monitor bank, rusty casters screeching. They wedged it into the door. Liam's eyes darted the back wall of the observation bay. "Service shaft behind the autoclaves," he reminded, "buried under the old machines." Together, they shoved the heavy autoclaves, steel scraping the floor. At last, a narrow steel hatch showed, paint dull, no keypad, just a mechanical lock and a plaque. "Maintenance override." "Locked," Graves grunted. He raised the gun, fired twice. The reports cracked like hammers in a drum. The lock shattered. He ripped the door open. Inside, a service lift shaft, walls greasy, iron dust caked. A gear wheel crank like an old ship's helm. The cab jammed level with the floor, luck. "Get Kellen in," Graves barked, resetting his grip on the pistol. Ava unhooked non-essentials, clipped the monitor to a mobile pack, transferred the IV rack. Liam lifted the gurney's head, guided it over the lip. Finch slithered closer, voice oily. "Brooks, you don't have to do this. I can save your daughter, money, millions. The data was just acceleration. Let me go, I'll cure Maya." Liam turned, face like stone. "You don't say my daughter's name, you save no one." He turned back, the steady beat of Kellen's heart monitor his answer. The main door boomed, hinge snapping, steel bowing. Dust shook loose. Bullets shredded air, sparking against walls. Graves dropped low, firing 3 sharp bursts through the broken glass slit, cutting down the first shape that leaned in. "Move!" he roared. "Get him down!" Ava guided Kellen into the lift. Vance quaked, diving to a corner. Graves booted Finch inside. Liam climbed in last, slapping at the rusted panel. "No power," he muttered. "Manual only." His fingers found a cracked plastic switch. Emergency descent. The main door burst, steel screaming. Two dark figures stormed in, guns vomiting fire. Plaster exploded around the lift mouth. "Go!" Graves bellowed, stepping back, reloading with the smoothness of habit. "Marcus!" Ava cried, reaching a hand. He glanced half a second. Enough for a weary, warm smile. "Orders are orders, ma'am." Liam smashed the cover, slammed the button. A shrill alarm keened, lift doors grinding shut like ancient jaws. Through the narrowing gap, Ava caught one last frame. Graves, framed in red light, body braced to block the breach, muzzle flashing against the storm. The doors sealed, slicing the gunfire away, leaving only the whine of pulleys. The shaft lurched, dropping like something shoved off a cliff. The floor quaked, rivets screamed, light streaked. Kellen rocked with the gurney, monitor beeping, calm, merciless. Ava clutched the rail, staring upward into the black where a man had stayed so others could pass. Wind shrieked through the shaft. Altitude vanished in a few breaths. Metal scraped metal at the bottom. They fell, not in panic, but with the knowledge there was no way back. And in that last instant, as gravity pressed down hard, Liam Brooks understood. Every door in his life, from the chrome sedan handle to this rusted service lift, had only ever been a question. Would he dare open it? This time, his answer was yes. The lift jolted like a hammer to the spine, then dropped, air whipping into cords around their ears. Ava clutched the gurney's edge, eyes locked on the darkness swallowing above. Kellen lay still, lashes trembling with each violent shake. Liam lunged forward, one hand gripping the rusted rail, the other shielding Kellen's head from hitting. Finch and Vance rolled in the corner like sacks of wet cloth, mouths leaking sharp, thin sounds pitched between terror and disgrace. The crash at the bottom landed like a sledgehammer slamming steel plate. Everything jumped off the floor, clattering into one another. Darkness pressed thick as tar. Liam blinked through the aftershock vibrating in his bones. He fumbled until he found the tactical flashlight Graves had shoved into his hand earlier. Clicked. A white beam sliced the dust. "Kellen!" Ava dropped to her knees, her shaking hand sliding from his wrist to his carotid. Nothing. Too much chaos to feel. "Back up, battery," Liam said, voice ragged but sure. His fingers searched behind the mobile monitor block, flipped a tiny switch under a cracked cover. The screen sputtered to life, steadied into a graph. The beep returned, thin, cruelly steady, as if it hadn't noticed the world just fell. Ava exhaled in a hiss, tears blurring at the corners. "The door," Liam said. The lift door had buckled, tracks jammed. He swung the beam, jammed his fingers into the seam, straining. "Here." Ava shoved him a short pry bar scavenged from the shaft corner. Liam wedged, leaned his weight, metal screaming. The door gave a slit, just enough. He squeezed through, dragged the gurney legs. Ava held Kellen's head steady. Vance scrambled to push the end, Finch shadowing close, eyes flicking like a rat's, already scheming escape. Outside was a loading bay, high ceiling, concrete walls streaked in shadow, faded yellow lines drowned in oil. Diesel, rubber, damp rot filled lungs like heavy stew. Trucks lined along one side. A dead forklift slumped. At the far end, a steel roll-up door slammed to the ground. Beside it, a personnel door blinked red, locked electronic. "Main roads through the roll-up," Liam said. That one, pointing at the side door, needs a badge. Dead. His beam swept for a breaker. Only a sealed power box, padlocked with lead seal. They'll be down here in a minute, Ava said, scanning the camera mounted high. We need wheels. Truck. Liam clambered onto the side step of the nearest. The handle resisted, corroded stiff. He grabbed a fire extinguisher, smashed the window, glass scattered up to the ceiling. Quick! He reached inside, flipped the latch, slid into the seat. Interior lights blinked, power alive. Keys? None. He ransacked the visor, glove box, empty. Too late. He yanked the fuse box, stripped wires, hunting the starter. Footsteps echoed down the ramp. Ava rolled the gurney to the truck bed, slamming the hatch open. Faster, she ground out, eyes black with adrenaline sliding into pain. A hand gripped the frame. Brooks, Finch's voice dripped oil. You don't need to damn yourself. 1 million. 2, 3. Maya. Don't say her name. Liam's head snapped up, flashlight beam cutting Finch into shadow. You don't save, you bury. He twisted the wires. Sparks cracked. The starter coughed, then roared. The engine woke like a beast stretching. Ava and Vance shoved the gurney into the back. Liam stomped clutch, jammed gear, floored it. The truck bellowed, smashed into the roll-up. Steel shrieked, teeth snapped, slats tore from rails, and with a final crash the door gaped, a jagged mouth opening to the night. Beyond was a service road, gray asphalt flanked by dirt embankments and scrub. Somewhere, sirens screamed alive. Liam pressed harder, speedometer clawing upward. Wind slashed through broken glass, snapping his collar. Ava, in the passenger seat, gripped the dash, eyes locked on the mirror. Never leaving the gurney behind. Vance curled in a corner, white as plaster. Finch silently mouthed, calculations, exit strategies, illusions of escape. 1 mile to the junction, Liam said, eyes flicking to mirrors. The sky above was velvet black. He cut onto a gravel pull-off, braked hard. Ava was already on the sat phone, strings of numbers sprinting under her fingers. She pressed, a short ring. Director Evans, this is Ava Langford. A calm, older man's voice replied, I'm listening. There is an active threat at North Valley Research Facility, Ava said, each word driven like a stake. I have direct evidence of human experimentation, conspiracy to commit murder to destroy evidence, and large-scale financial fraud tied to Dr. Alistair Finch. Armed personnel are present. I request immediate federal tactical deployment, full lockdown, quarantine, and containment. Authority, under my name. Documentation en route through secure channel. A half-beat pause, then. Confirmed. Tracking your signal. Maintain position if safe. No further contact. Nearest unit in 5 minutes. Airspace is closing now. Ava cut the line. Silence fell, broken only by the engine's rumble and Kellen's monitor ticking. Graves, she whispered, as if casting herself into a void. Liam clenched the wheel. He saw the man's face again in the strobe red, standing in the breach, holding it so they could pass. Some questions had no answers in the moment, only debts later. A low sound, then nearer, heavier, then swallowing the sky, rotors. Black helicopters bloomed from dots into hawks, diving toward the nest of sin. At the road's end, blue-red strobes swelled thick. Liam shifted, pulled the truck back onto the road, heading straight for the blockade. When the barricade rose in their headlights, they had already crossed the point of no return. The night had given them a road, and now the state would claim the rest. Almost there, Maya, Liam whispered, not sure if he spoke or thought. Daddy's still holding the gate. Pale green halogen beams carved cold stripes across the ground, as the truck rolled into the blockade's arms. "Kill the engine! Out of the vehicle!" The voice over loudspeaker was steady, not shouting, not shaking. Agents in body armor surged toward them, movements precise. Practiced like an orchestra, drilled 1,000 times. Ava raised her badge and the sat phone. Langford, files transmitted through channel E7. Patient in the truck bed. Medical priority. A medical team sprinted in. Rear doors banged open. "Vitals steady," Liam said shortly, pointing to the monitor. "Backup battery. Amber bag already cut." They slid the gurney out, swapped oxygen, secured the lines. A medevac helicopter blinked on the open pad nearby. "Up," a nurse gestured. Ava brushed her brother's forehead, one soft touch anchoring her from collapse. Beside them, Finch tried to speak, but an arm was wrenched back, cuffs snapping shut. "I'm a doctor. You don't understand the protocol." "You have the right to remain silent," the agent intoned flatly. "Anything you say may be used against you in court." Vance nearly folded, knees buckling like joints had vanished. Another agent approached Ava. "We'll need a preliminary statement." "In 1 hour," Ava cut in, voice steel but calm. "Priority is the patient and securing the site. I'll fully cooperate once my brother is stabilized." The agent nodded, like a man who had read her name on too many reports. "Mr. Brooks?" another voice called. Liam turned, instinctively hunching his shoulders. "You're a key witness. You'll come with us. Not custody, protection. Do you have anyone we should notify?" At once, Maya's face flared in his mind like sun-breaking cloud. "My daughter, 7, at home with Mrs. Henderson. We'll send someone," the agent said. "You can call under supervision." 15 minutes later, the helicopter lifted Kellen away, rotors shredding the night into ribbons. Assault teams poured into North Valley like water downhill. Radio chatter crackled with clipped codes. "Server farm, secure. SQL cluster sealed. East basement, lock pallets, class 7. Armed contacts on north stairwell, neutralized." Ava sat in the back of an empty ambulance, staring at her hands etched with steel dust. Liam stood outside, eyes fixed on the helicopter, heart hanging on its blades. A young agent handed him a phone. "Go ahead, I'll stand here." Liam dialed. "Daddy?" Maya's voice. A drop on parched earth. "Baby girl," his throat caught. "I'm okay, just more work tonight. Go to bed early. Keep the gate for me. I drew an oak tree by the gate. It's strong now." "Good girl," he whispered. "I love you." Dawn leaked pale white along the horizon as they reached the federal hospital. Wide white halls, antiseptic air like mist. Ava was led to a private waiting room. Liam sat beside her, untouched cold coffee in hand. The door opened. Director Evans entered, coat open, tie loosened 1 notch from a long night. He didn't circle. "Kellen's with our best neurology team stable for now," he said. "As for Graves," Ava shot upright like a spring. "He, alive," Evans said. One heavy word cushioned. "When my team reached OR3, he was still standing, weapon dry, 4 attackers down. Severe blood loss and trauma, but doctors say stable." Ava collapsed back into the chair. A tear cut a clean path through dust on her cheek. Liam closed his eyes, picturing the man's broad shoulders like a door holding back storm. Evans set a slim folder on the table. Freeze orders on Helios accounts, warrants for data seizures, a list of detained personnel. "Finch will face federal charges," he said. "Vance is negotiating, offering details on the data falsification. Your part," Langford, "is evidence and cooperation. Your part, Brooks, is testimony. Counsel will be provided if you need it, and His eyes lingered on Liam. And protection. You saved a life. Ava leaned back, gaze drifting to the ceiling, measuring the distance between that 50th floor glass room and this white chamber. There, she had believed in miracles enough to blind herself to lines of ethics. Here, she would forge her power into a wall facing the right way. I want all raw Langford Initiative data open to the Joint Task Force, she said. Independent review. From now on, every biomedical trial my foundation funds follows full IRB process. Informed consent, external oversight. Evans nodded. Good, and prepare to face the press as someone correcting, not polishing. His eyes shifted to Liam. As for you, rest. Debrief at 1400. When the door closed, silence exhaled. Ava turned. Liam, she said softly. He lifted his head. I know you don't need thanks, but I need to say it. Thank you. And she drew breath, adjusting her words like sighting a scope. Maya. Starting today, she's under my shield. No one touches her. Liam smiled, thin, tired, but warmth glowed behind his eyes. I'm no hero, Ava, he said. I'm just a dad. That's enough, she replied. The next hours spun with records and signatures, testimony, evidence trails, file histories, money lines, internal approvals. Langford's lawyers sat with Ava. FBI counsel sat with Liam. Every word taped, time-stamped. No room for stories now, only truth set in rows. News broke out. Headlines rolling under footage of black helicopters. Illegal human experiments uncovered at private facility. CEO cooperates, chief doctor arrested. Social media foamed. Ava didn't read. Liam didn't read. They had a brother in critical care and a child holding a gate drawn in crayons. Near noon, a nurse poked in. Langford? Ava sprang up. Kellen is improving. Early tox screens show a compound not in any protocol. If you hadn't cut the line when you did, she trailed off. Ava nodded, afraid her voice would break. In the corridor, Graves was wheeled past, pale, lips cracked, but awake. He saw them, managed a crooked smile tugged by bandages. Report, the door held. Ava laid her hand on his shoulder. Many words lined up, but only one made it out. Thank you. Liam stood straight as a soldier, then bowed, saluting the man who had chosen to stay behind. By afternoon, Evans returned with another stack of orders. Helios is finished, he said. Accounts frozen, servers ghost-imaged. Judge signed the warrants. Vance confessed to scrubbing appendices. Finch will face a long slate of indictments. He studied them both. The rest is building, not breaking. As the sun tilted on the white wall, Ava opened her phone, scrolling to a list saved in the night. Neural gene therapy groups across 3 continents, all with NDS research. Tomorrow, she said, eyes lit with a new fire. We sit down. Langford Brooks Foundation, open data, full process, and Maya is patient number 2. Liam bowed his head, smiling. Somewhere inside, Maya's castle gate had locked tighter, but the walls around their home would no longer be built only to keep danger out. They would be walls of transparency, papers signed and dated. He texted Mrs. Henderson. I'll be late. Is she okay? Reply came quick. She showed me the new oak tree by the gate, said it's for you. Liam leaned back, eyes closed. Against the cold concrete, he felt the ground a little steadier, and in his mind a monitor's beep kept ticking, like a clock stepping into another age, an age where truth wasn't shredded for the bin, but pieced back together to save lives. The morning after that torn-open night, the Federal Hospital's press hall was packed. Cables, spotlights, the hive-like murmur of voices. Ava Langford stood at the podium, mic upright. No smile forced, no shield of words. "I'm sorry," she began, low and steady. "I funded an off-the-books project out of desperation to save my brother. That allowed bad actors into the system. I take responsibility, and starting today, I am working fully with investigators while establishing the Langford Brooks Foundation to support transparent research, open data, and IRB standard trials for NDS." She lowered her eyes a beat. "The co-signer of this foundation is Liam Brooks, the man who risked his life to pull us back toward the truth." The room erupted in questions. Will shareholders sue? Is Langford Industries implicated? Ava answered clean. The foundation is a separate legal entity, funded with her personal assets, run by an independent trust, quarterly public reports, external audits. "If shareholders want to sue," she said, "they sue me, not the company." Cold lights reflected her burning eyes. "We don't buy miracles. We build honest science." That afternoon, the temporary foundation office met in a borrowed hospital room. White walls, warm wood table, a whiteboard crowded with bullet points. The IRB sat full. Neurologist, gene therapy expert, biomedical lawyer, head nurse, community rep, and 2 patient family seats. Liam Brooks was invited not as a guest of honor, but with a vote on patient experience. A door eased open. Marcus Graves, on crutches, slipped into the back row. He gave Liam a nod. His eyes said it. The door held. Liam nodded back. "I know." IRB criteria. First, transparency. Raw data from Finch's prior cases stripped of harm, processed independently, posted to open repositories with warning notes. Second, informed consent. Plain language explanations, multilingual, time to decide, withdrawal rights intact. Third, equity of access. The fund covering travel and living support for low-income and remote families, prioritizing underserved communities. Ava glanced at Liam during that point. He met her eyes, nodded. The door was now open in the right direction. The team, on Zoom, 3 faces from 3 time zones: Dr. Rivera, Puerto Rican American, synapse disorders; Dr. Arun Sharma, India, AAV therapy for rare disease; Dr. Mei Lin, Chinese American biosafety. All agreed to open data principles, international co-review, preprints with validation. "We're not racing for product," Ava closed. "We're racing disease and racing by the rules." Liam's role was written into the minutes. Patient experience coordinator, advising on facility flow, from clear signage to IV port sizing for small children. Strange, not to the IRB, a systems man knows where bottlenecks live. "You'll be paid fairly," Ava told him. Liam hesitated. He was used to minimum wage and overtime to cover rent. "Not charity," she added. "Work." He nodded. First community forum. A dozen families came, white, black, Latin, Asian, wheelchairs, trembling hands, tired faces. Liam spoke without notes. He told the story straight without hero's polish. He spoke of system failure, of an amber V-bag, and of eyes that must be trained to spot what doesn't fit. A black mother stood. "If we sign, who protects us from the bad?" "Process and light," Liam said. "And our names on the door." He pointed to the provisional sign, Langford Brooks Foundation. "My name is there because I'll be there whenever needed." IRB technical session stretched late. Gene protocol laid out. AAV vector, low escalating doses, multi-layer safety, liver enzymes, immune markers, neurofunction, hard stop triggers. Dr. Lin drilled on immune accumulation. Dr. Sharma showed preclinical data. Dr. Rivera explained functional scales. Liam listened like drinking new water, no scientist, but he knew when people checked a door before opening. Trial ID approval came fast under emergency status for Kellen and Maya. Kellen, patient Huoho 1. Maya, Huo 2. Before infusion, the head nurse handed Maya a squeeze star. "Name it," she said. "Sunshine." Liam laughed. "Daddy's little son." The infusion wasn't movie drama. A bright room, 2 recliners, clear lines, monitors quietly ticking. Ava sat by Kellen, whispering words only siblings heard. Liam sat by Maya, telling a story without monsters, only an oak and the wind. Science here wasn't big words, but liquid flowing through cleaned systems, this time with light. 3 days, no miracles, just tedious labs, blood, urine, enzymes, MRI, reflexes, drawings. On day 4, Maya tried circles. Before, jagged from tremor, now less jagged. She sprang up. "Daddy, look, round her." Liam turned away a beat to swallow salt in his throat. Good science rarely fires cannons. It moves slow as a clock hand, but it moves. Night. Ava stood alone at the glass hall, city below. The door slid. Graves on crutches. "Report add-on, outer gates secure," he half-joked. Ava laughed for the first time in days. "Thanks, Marcus." He looked through the window at Liam, asleep by his daughter's chair. "2 names on the foundation was right," he said. Ava nodded. "A door needs 2 keepers." A spam email hit the press inbox. "Brooks is a prop, Ava's PR stunt." Hospital PR asked how to respond. Ava said, "Don't answer opinion, answer with data." The Foundation's site posted its first data set. Infusion logs, tremor scale scores, functional videos, adverse event notes, anonymized but open. Light did its work. The noise dimmed. That night, Liam got a message from an unknown number. "Thank you for shouting, 'Don't get in the car.' I'm sister to another NDS patient. Next time, I want to stand with you." He read it, then looked at Maya asleep, arms wrapped around Sunshine. The castle gate in her drawing hadn't changed, but the house behind it now had lights on. 6 weeks later, the sky began to change color earlier. Kellen practiced walking with a lighter cane, resting less between breaths. Maya's spirals on paper grew rounder, and when she threw a ball, her hand slipped far less. The Langford Brooks Foundation moved into its own headquarters. A renovated brick building, a muted metal plaque etched with both names on the front. In the lobby hung a framed pledge: transparency, safety, equity, respect. The media didn't stay quiet. One outlet splashed the headline: "CEO fabricates story to save reputation," with a chopped-up clip from the press conference. The next day, the Foundation posted the full timeline. Ava's call to Finch, Helios photos, freeze orders, IRB minutes, anonymized medical files. No commentary, just facts. The public argued another round, then moved on. Truth doesn't silence instantly, but it lays a stone to step forward. The preliminary hearing of United States versus Alistair Finch opened in a polished wood courtroom. Dr. Corbin Vance appeared with counsel in a plea deal, eyes down, voice flat, as he confessed to altering appendices, downplaying deaths, signing Helios contracts to launder data. The prosecution called Liam Brooks. He stepped to the stand, hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Finch's lawyer tried to paint him as a trash thief, a data distorter. The prosecution asked 3 questions: what he saw in the shred bin, what he did, and why. Liam answered slowly, clearly, no drama, no tremor. "I saw Kellen's name on the strips. I pieced the numbers buried in the appendices. I was afraid. I shouted, 'Don't get in the car.' Why? Because someone could die." The judge leaned back, peering over his glasses. For a moment, the courtroom hushed. Outside, anonymous accounts attacked Liam. Favored because his name's on the sign, riding coattails. Ava asked if he wanted the foundation to respond. Liam shook his head. No need, our job is to keep the gate. Still, at that week's board meeting, he proposed one thing: an equity of access committee with its own budget, co-chaired by a parent, not him. Ava agreed instantly. The chair went to Elaine Carter, mother of a white rural boy with NDS, a voice that needed its place. Meanwhile, Marcus Graves worked through physical therapy like fighting an old war, counting breaths, moving slow, steady, deliberate. Every afternoon he stopped by the foundation, coat collar up, black coffee in hand. Everyone greeted, "Hello, Mr. Marcus," as if greeting a gate post. One day he left a rusty old lock on the reception desk. "A keepsake," he said. Reminder, a lock's just a lock. A door must be kept by people. Maya's second assessment came. Pencil dot alignment test. Before, she missed often. This time, far fewer. The number connection test, 1 to 25, she completed faster, with less sweat. No cheering. But Liam knew. Each line drawn was a brick laid in a bridge. He called Mrs. Henderson. "Mac and cheese tonight?" "Add beans and broccoli," she answered with a laugh. Ava faced another battle, the Langford Industries Board. Some members wanted her out as CEO, citing reputational risk. She entered the boardroom with 2 envelopes. The first, a plan separating the foundation from the company, new compliance protocols, added audits. The second, her signed resignation. "If you think I'm the risk, I'll go now. But if you want to do right, vote in this compliance package." Silence. By the end, the package passed. The second envelope stayed sealed. The foundation inaugurated its building with a simple plaque hanging. No wine, no fireworks. Just Ava. This sign bears 2 names because science needs both power and lived experience. Neither rides on the other. Then Liam. "One night I kicked through a door and fell. Since then I've learned, every door is a question. Today we open another, for other families." Polite applause. Graves on the edge, a small nod from a watchman's perch. Research networks began to link. A Zurich team requested anonymized data, suggesting a serum marker for early monitoring. A Tokyo group proposed fine motor exercises with robotic aid. On the Foundation's site, the Case Log Ambroso 2 tab updated regularly. Safety markers, functional scores, adverse events, so far mild, manageable. Under each log, the head nurse compiled commentary, written person to person. One evening, Liam joined an NDS family support circle. Round room, plastic chairs. A middle-aged black father spoke of fear each time hospital security eyed him, afraid of being misread. A Latina mother described finances split open by travel costs. Elaine Carter wrote each point on the board. Travel stipends, frontline cultural training, hotline. Liam said little, listened much, and at the end, "If next time the gate's hard to open, call me, I'll come." Finch filed an appeal to exclude shredbin evidence, citing expectation of privacy. The court denied. Trash in a corporate shredbin carries no legitimate expectation of privacy. The email came dull, but its weight was the clean click of a bolt sliding home. Night again. Ava and Liam returned to visit Kellen. He slept, breath deep, face less ashen. "Why do you think you noticed the amber bag?" Ava asked softly. "Because I'm used to looking at trash," Liam grinned. "And because when you guard a door you know what belongs in the house and what doesn't." When they left, night air cooled like a damp cloth. Maya was asleep at home. Sunshine Star clutched tight. Liam checked his calendar. Tomorrow was another evaluation. He shut the phone, slipped it in his pocket, and laid a hand on his chest, heartbeat steadying into a longer stride. On the Langford Brooks plaque outside, the streetlight etched the chisel marks. Not perfect strokes, but human-made. Beneath it, Graves pulled his collar high, scanning the dark. He saw nothing threatening, yet stayed a moment longer, habit too deep to break. Then he turned, locked the gate, and hung the key in its place. The door was held through the night, so tomorrow it could open in the right place. The first sunny day of spring arrived like someone had pulled back the curtain on the whole sky. On grass still dotted with damp dew, Maya Brooks chased after a ball, her hair catching light against her cheeks. Her first kick was too hard, the ball clipping her shoe and rolling off course, but her little hand didn't tremble like before. Kellen Langford, pale shirt, light wooden cane, caught the ball against his chest, inhaling as if to hold the smell of grass in his lungs. "Hey, superstar," he grinned. "You trying to send me back to the hospital?" "No way," Maya laughed, cheeks flushed pink. "You're too strong." Liam Brooks leaned an elbow on the railing of the porch of their new home. A small brick house, single story, broad porch, an old oak tree with the roots like veins on the ground. Ava Langford stepped out, holding 2 glasses of lemonade beaded with condensation. She passed one to Liam, glass clinking glass. "Bit heavy on the lemon," she said, "still working on the recipe." Liam took a sip, storing the sour bite in memory. "It works," he said, then fell quiet. From the porch, the view looked unreal. Her brother had escaped the cold grip of an amber IV bag. His daughter had taken steps beyond the swamp of tremors. This peace wasn't a miracle. It was the consequence of choosing the right paths. On the small table, Ava's phone buzzed. Email from the Langford Brooks Foundation. This week's update. Maya scored higher on the number connection test. Liver enzymes steady. No serious events. Kellen improved endurance. Fatigue threshold shifting. Ava angled the screen toward Liam. He nodded. "Brick by brick," he said. "Brick by brick." Across the yard, Marcus Graves, retired now, leaned against the oak, still holding his cane out of habit, though his steps were firm. He didn't intrude on the play. He just stood watch, eyes following the ball like watching a door. When the ball rolled toward the fence, he blocked it with a careful squat, then passed it back to Maya, gruff humor in his voice. "Outer gates locked, ball's not going anywhere." The girl burst into laughter. By midday, Foundation staff dropped off a stack of community reports, travel reimbursements for families, hotline call stats, frontline cultural training sessions. Elaine Carter, the co-chair of the Equity Committee, had tucked in a card. "This Saturday, NDS Families Picnic at Central Park. Bring a ball." Liam read it, smiled. A small network had already taken root around them. Court news also landed. Finch's appeal to exclude shred-bin evidence was denied. Detention without bail confirmed for flight risk. Main trial scheduled for summer. Vance continued cooperating, detailing appendix edits, earning leniency. Ava read, no triumph on her face, just the relief of setting down a misplaced weight. "The rest," she said, "is building." Lunch was Mrs. J. Henderson's mac and cheese, Maya's favorite, with broccoli added as promised. Before eating, Maya brought out a new drawing. No castle. On the page was a house under the oak, speckled lawn. 5 figures hand in hand, a man with a cane, Kellen, a girl in yellow, Maya, a man standing slightly apart but facing them, Graves. In the middle, a man and a woman side by side, Liam and Ava, with a respectful gap, and something unspoken in between. Above, a round sun sending rays that touched each figure. Maya pressed the drawing into her father's hands. "I changed the gate," she said. "No more gate. Now the house has many keepers." That afternoon, they visited the small school observatory. Maya joined the Name a Star program. Beneath the dome, points of light scattered like salt. She raised her hand. "I name mine Sunshine. No one's taken it." The guide chuckled. "Pretty sure that's free." On tiptoe, Maya whispered, "It's after Mom." Liam heard, chest aching in that way that keeps you alive, a grief made gentle, like warm balm. Ava stood beside him, not touching, just present. At night, they stopped by Foundation headquarters. The muted Langford Brooks plaque caught the streetlight into warm gold. Inside, the 4-line pledge hung in the hall. At the base of the wall, in glass, sat Graves's rusted lock, inscribed, "A lock is only a lock. Doors are kept by people." Liam lingered, tracing the journey. From the sidewalk where he'd yelled, "Don't get in the car," to the red lever in the OR, to the emergency lift button, to the loading bay door, to the courtroom doors, to this plaque bearing 2 names. Each door had opened not by magic keys, but by people standing in the right place. Night draped the porch. Leaves of the oak whispered. Graves told the kids to wash up. He stayed on the porch, pulling a small key, golden, untarnished, from his pocket. "For you," he told Maya, "symbolic. When you're scared, hold it. It doesn't open anything. It just reminds you every door in this house has someone behind it." Maya held it tight, nodding solemnly. Before going in, Ava scanned the yard, seeing the people she loved right there. No sirens, no flashing lights, just clinking spoons running water at the sink. She turned to Liam. "That day," she said, "if you hadn't shouted, I might have gotten in the car." He tilted his head. "If you hadn't listened, we wouldn't have today." They both laughed, no extra words. Sometimes a day exists because of 2 small words, hearing each other. Late, the house quiet. Liam stood at Maya's doorway. She slept curled around Sunshine, the symbolic key poking from her hand like a trophy. He pulled her blanket higher, whispered, "Daddy's keeping the gate." He switched off the light, shut the door. Outside, the spring sky stretched full of stars. Somewhere up there, Sunshine now bore a name, not brightening the whole universe, but shining enough for a porch, a lawn, and a new home. A few months passed, like the steady beep of a monitor, not rushed, not slow, just persistent. The main trial of Finch opened in late summer. Vance took the stand, worn down like a man who had shed skin, testifying in detail about how he padded numbers, how he slipped unlabeled supplement bags into protocols. The prosecution presented ghost image servers, Helios transfers, emails with scribbled notes, push timeline early. Finch's lawyers leaned on the idea of, to save lives, you have to push hard. But scientific ethics does not allow trading human lives for pretty graphs. The court rejected most arguments, ruling Finch held until sentencing. In the hallway, Ava and Liam didn't celebrate. They walked straight out the doors. Their work was in the lab, the therapy room, the playroom where Maya was drawing more oaks. One morning, Kellen asked to go to the lake outside town. High sky, water flat as blue glass. A small sailboat waited, a simple type, white sail like a fresh page. Kellen touched the hull, eyes closed. "Ava," he whispered, "I want to feel the sun without glass between us." Ava nodded, hiding old habits of worry, counting wind, counting minutes, counting distance to shore. Graves stood at the bank, cane in hand, eyes on the sail. Liam sat at the stern, silent, not guarding a door this time, but keeping the wind steady. The sail swelled, the boat glided. Kellen tilted his face, closed his eyes, the sun pouring warm onto his skin. "I dreamed this once," he said. "In the dream, I was alone. Today, I see you all." Ava turned away to wipe her eyes. Liam smiled. Phone turned toward Maya on shore, holding Sunshine high, shouting soundless. Beside her, Graves lifted a hand like a parade salute. The Langford Brooks Foundation entered Phase 2, expanding the trial, adding 3 more patients, keeping open logs. Zurich's serum marker became a peer-reviewed paper. Tokyo's robotic therapy turned into a video clip of a child showing how a robot gently steadied her wrist against tremors. The network was no longer just names on a chart, but people recognizing each other in the same light. At Maya's school, career day arrived. She stood in front of class in her bright yellow dress, holding a cardboard star. "I want to be an astronomer," she said, careful with every syllable. "I named a little star Sunshine." The class gasped. A boy asked, "What can a little star even do?" Maya answered, "Shine just enough so someone can see home." From the back row, Liam laughed softly, realizing the world had wound a long road just to land at one simple line. Ava remained CEO, but compliance structures were rebuilt like a skeleton. The Internal Ethics Board now had outsiders. Reports went public on schedule. The board no longer asked her about reputation risk, but about impact measures and implementation lessons. She still worked late, but now whenever she caught herself painting things too rosy, she heard Graves cough. "Gate's not locked, ma'am," and Liam's quiet. "Check the pipes, not the banner." She smiled, corrected the draft. One evening, the support group met in the foundation's yard. Elaine announced temporary housing for trial families. Small apartments near the hospital, rent paid by the fund. Liam spoke simply. "We don't just treat disease, we treat the conditions that stop people from being treated." Heads nodded. That's what honest science often forgets. That night, a text pinged Liam's phone. Bail denied again. Trial moved to larger court. Too many witnesses. He exhaled. He no longer swung between rage and vengeance. The verdict would come like a rail pulling a train to station. His job remained. Keep the gate, keep the house. By late autumn, the foundation held a quiet evening called Doors of Light. Old keys hung from strings, each with a note. Door I opened, signing consent. Door we held, the night a nurse answered on first ring. Door I promise, housing more families. Graves hung his key with the board. Door kept all night. Ava hung a broken key labeled, "The door in my mind, no more rosy gloss." Liam hung the plastic key Graves had given Maya. Home. When the crowd dispersed, they sat on the steps of the foundation, street lamps dusting gold on the name Langford Brooks. Ava asked, "Do you ever hear those words in your head again? 'Ma'am, don't get in the car.'" Liam chuckled. "Sometimes, but the words changed. Now it says, 'Maya, keep the gate.'" Ava nodded. "I hear a line change too. Back then, we must believe. Now, we must verify." The first cold day came early. Wind ripped oak leaves into spirals. Maya dashed inside, hugging Sunshine, squealing, "It's freezing!" Kellen began walking indoors without the cane, 5 steps at a time, pausing, grinning like he'd stolen minutes from death. Graves stopped by to fix the back door hinge himself. He refused to let anyone else touch it. "A good door should move gentle," he muttered, tightening screws like writing a poem. Ava set 2 new lemonade bottles on the table. Less sour now, rounder. Liam opened the door just enough for the wind to whisper leaves without chilling the room. Before dinner, Maya said, "Daddy, I want to redraw the last picture." She spread paper, sketched the oak, the house, 5 people hand in hand as before. But this time she added, a small path from the gate to the main road, no fence, no lock. "This is the way home," she explained, "so if someone gets lost, they'll know how to come back." Ava looked at Liam. They stayed silent, because a child had just summarized the whole story better than any speech. That night rain fell. Not heavy, just enough to drum soft on the roof. Liam stood on the porch, hand on the front lock. He thought of all the doors they'd passed. The sedan handle, the glass boardroom, the bars in the drain, the OR steel door, the service lift gate, the loading bay roll-up, the courthouse doors, the foundation's plaque, the house's threshold. Each door had been a question. Will you dare to open it? Will you dare to lock it? Will you dare to stand before it? He smiled faintly. The answers no longer belonged to him alone. They were shared. Answers of a circle of people who learned to listen, to guard, and to keep doors for each other. "Daddy," Maya's voice called from the living room, "tell a story without monsters." "All right," Liam answered, turning from the wind, closing the door softly. "This one's just about home and the sun." He stepped inside, yellow light wrapping his shoulders, warm lemon scent filling the kitchen, soft laughter spilling into corners. Outside, sunshine, a little star, still held its place. It didn't need to blaze, it only needed to guide. And on the porch of a small house, beneath an old oak, a black father stood exactly where he belonged, keeping the gate, keeping the house, keeping the ones he loved. Which part of this story touched you most? The desperate shout on the sidewalk, or the quiet drawing of a house beneath the oak tree? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next video.